the misconception that people have is computer science engineers, they can only be coders or developers. It's not so. There are different fields in computer science engineering.
Welcome to another episode of Engineering Aajkal. It's a fact that not everyone can get into the IITs and the NITs of the world. However, it's also in fact that you don't need to do IIT or NIT to work in a company like Amazon, specifically Amazon Web Services. According to a guest interviewee, you need just confidence, passion, and love for what you do. So he is none other than Nikhil Anand. He started his journey as Christ University and he is now working in Amazon. What made him embark in this journey? Let's find out. So Nikhil, tell us about yourself.
Okay, so you have already mentioned that I'm a daytime cloud support engineer at Amazon Web Services. I'm based out of Hyderabad. So working at Amazon makes up half of my day. And apart from that, my interests sort of flicker a lot. So I'm into a lot of things. So when someone asks me to describe about myself, I just say that, okay, I'm a jack of all trades, master of none, and proudly so. So apart from that, I have a YouTube channel that I run, and I have a website where I write a lot of articles and blogs. I do not get a lot of time to write a lot of articles these days, but yes, I occasionally contribute to my own website.
From which college did you do your engineering and which stream?
Basically, it's quite an interesting story. So I studied up until my 12th boards in Maharashtra. And then I gave my 12th boards in 2013 and I messed up big time. I was a great scholar at school till 10th grade, 11th, 12th, not so. So I messed up all my entrance exams, and just a fun fact, I remember screwing up my JEE mains big time and also the Maharashtra CET. I scored 8 out of 100 in mathematics. So I did not really get any so-called good or reputed college in Maharashtra, which was totally heartbreaking at that point of time. Now it's fun when I recall that. So and one of my friends suggested, why don't you give a try in the Karnataka state exams? I did that. I managed to get a decent score, and I got into Christ University. Now Christ is a big name in the southern part of the country, but the point to note here is Christ was just picking up in the engineering stream back then when I had joined. So placement scene not so cool back then. But I had to give it a try, and I needed some college really desperately, and Christ was ready to take me in. I was like, why not? Take it. At least I will have the brand name with me, some sort of a brand name, even though Christ was not into engineering too much back then. I just gave it a shot, and it worked decently well for me. I picked up computer science, not out of interest, out of the herd mentality rather, because my sister, my family, some of my cousins, they've all been computer science engineers. So I was like, okay, I'll go with computer science because that's what the scope thing comes into picture. And I was like, okay, I'll take that.
Since you said that, in the Christ University, engineering was still a growing thing. So were there any unique courses or new courses that you did at that point of time, which is even relevant in the work that you're doing today?
Yes. So if I recall it correctly, it was in the second year of my graduation when we had a subject named operating systems. A lot of engineering students could relate. So operating systems is a very dry subject. When you study in college, you just feel, okay, why are we even studying this? It makes no sense because it's really dry, very theoretical. And you think, okay, what will we do with those Linux commands? Will they ever even come into picture when we actually start working? So that is something that's a misconception, I feel, and that is what even I had. Now when I have started working, I see those operating system concepts coming back into the frame, and I realize, okay, maybe had I been a little more vigilant in those classes, I would have easily picked those things up now. And similarly, there was another subject, computer networks, in the third year of my graduation. And again, I was thinking, what are those network capture packets? What is TCP, UDP? How will that ever benefit me? All I need to do is code. That's what my brain was aligned at. And now I realize, okay, development or the coding is not the only thing that computer science engineers can do. There's a lot more to it when it comes to computer science engineering.
How can people go into Amazon and companies like Google without the tag of IIT or NIT?
It all comes down to the fact how you market yourself and how you market your skills. Back in college, one thing that I learned was you need to have a very solid LinkedIn profile. because that really helps. Even if you're not doing a lot of things professionally, as a student, there are certain things that you're doing. Make sure you put it across so that you'll have it in writing when it comes to writing your resume. And then people are looking for jobs from these big companies. They often post their jobs, like for Amazon. I can speak on behalf of Amazon. So basically, Amazon posts all the job requirements on Amazon.jobs. So I kept looking that again and again. I saw, okay, there's an opportunity there. And I just applied for it the moment I felt, okay, this was the right time. I'm ready for it. Because on the job description page, I read through the job description, what was the requirement. I was like, okay, fine. I meet this requirement. I'm sure I can do this. I guess I'm well versed with the concept. Why not? Give it a try.
So coming back to your journey in Epsilon, which was the first place that you were hired, just tell us about the experience that you gathered there, and what experience that you had there helped you in the job that you have now in Amazon.
To be honest, not a great deal of help that I got from Epsilon to transition into an engineer at Amazon, because as I said, like the misconception that people have is computer science engineers, they can only be coders or developers. It's not so. There are different fields in computer science engineering. Someone can totally jump into analytics. They can be good at some services like SAP or any of the analytics services. So they can totally divert into that direction. They can go into the cloud, as I said, or they can take up coding. The thing is, people just follow a lot of trends. So say 5 years ago, like about in 2015, 5 years ago, so people had this misconception that, okay, software engineer means, okay, they need to be coders. That's not true. And that is where I feel I missed out a year in my life, because I took up a job in Epsilon because everyone told me, okay, computer science is all about development and coding. You're getting a developer role. Why not take it? So I took it. And once I went there, first 6 months, it was really great. I even moved from a developer role to a full stack developer role, because I obviously, if I'm doing something, I put my heart and soul into it. So I did that. But somewhere down the line, I realized, okay, there was no work-life balance there, because there was no interest in developing code. I used to work 9 to 5, and even after that, I used to take a break, and even after my shift hours, I used to come back home, still write code, because I was not good at it. I was not having fun doing it. That is when I realized, okay, this is not my cup of tea, and I decided I needed to switch. So last month or two at Epsilon, when I was serving my notice period there, I started studying in the field of interest, in my field of interest, which was networking and operating systems. And at the same time, I was fortunate enough to see a job opening, a job listing for Amazon. I applied, they called me for an interview, and I cleared that.
So you have moved into Amazon's web services, and it's an aspirational company for like many engineers. So how did you get this opportunity?
As I said, okay, I messed up my entrance exams. That does not mean other friends of mine messed it up too. So some of my friends, they were fortunate enough to get into the IITs and the NITs. And when we used to like get together, they used to talk about the companies, the big companies. And one of my friends, she used to say about Amazon, okay, she works at Amazon, and this is how it is. The work-life balance is amazing. It's great. You just work during your shift hours. No need to extend beyond shift hours. And plus the work that she actually did, I found it very fascinating. And so I was very intrigued by it, and that is when I started exploring the opportunity. So I approached my friend again. As I said, contacts are very important. I approached my friend. I asked her if she could refer me at Amazon. She was like, sure, why not? If you get through, she gets the referral bonus, obviously. So it's a win-win for both of us. And so she referred me, and I started preparing for it. I started studying everything that I could in that field. Depending on the descriptions that I read across internet, I read a lot about Amazon interview process on Quora. I checked Glassdoor reviews. I read a lot of things, gathered all my intel, and then that is how I started preparing for it. And I appeared for the interviews of like about some 5 or 6 rounds of it. What happens is you basically attend the aptitude test. If you clear the cutoff marks, you move to the next round. And next rounds are like the face-to-face interviews, and these days virtual interviews. So those are different. Like some of them would be technical rounds, and depending on the job profile, like say suppose you're appearing for an entry-level role, say a cloud support associate. So in that case, you will have like a basic networking round, technical round, which would be like which would go on for an hour or something like that. If you do well, you move on to the next tech round. So there are like 2 or 3 tech rounds depending on the job that you're applying for. And then you will have managerial and HR rounds. So that is what it is. And so what exactly do you need to study for it? Obviously, the field of interest matters. Say if you're getting into cloud engineering, if you have some certifications in hand beforehand, so that really helps. Now, what sort of certifications do you need? The certifications that you would need is basically the cloud engineering is all about networking and knowing things about operating systems. So it's always good to have a certification like a CCNA, or if you're applying for AWS, it's always good to have AWS Cloud Practitioner certification done, or say AWS Solutions Architect Associate certification.
You are working as a cloud engineer at AWS. What does exactly a cloud engineer do?
As a cloud engineer, what you're supposed to do is basically help the customers of your company, say Amazon in this case. So you need to ensure that you help your customers run their workloads effectively and smoothly on the cloud platforms. Now, what is cloud? Cloud is nothing but virtual servers, virtual storage. Like back in the day, if you roll back the years, there were hardware that were needed to maintain the servers and the storage, which took a lot of efforts to maintain and obviously scale up in those terms. Now, cloud came into the picture, the big companies, the big players of cloud, including AWS. In fact, so these companies, they're helping the other companies migrate from the normal traditional hardwares to the virtual cloud. And that is where the role of cloud engineers or cloud support engineers come into the picture. If the customers face any issues during their migration or during their deployments to the cloud support engineers or the cloud associates, they help them.
So, as a cloud engineer, what are the basic and common challenges that you face, and how do you solve these kind of challenges?
Basic challenges, to be honest, the biggest challenge is the fact that you need to work real time. Like in case of a development role, you all obviously have some sprints in the CS lingo, if I say. So there's some sprints like, okay, you get a project and you get a deadline, like you have 3 months you to finish this project. But here, what happens is like real-time applications are at stake. If a customer complains my application is down, you need to make sure you bring it up back again as soon as possible. So the biggest challenge is doing it in the right amount of time. Like sometimes it could be as less as 15 or 20 minutes if it is that critical. Like imagine a big company or a big website facing downtime when customers are trying to access their application. Obviously, it means like millions and billions of losses. So the real-time factor, that is something that's the biggest challenge. And how do I overcome it, or how does any other engineer working overcome it? It's basically you need to be very fast in your thought process. You need to have a lot of options in your mind. You need to read thoroughly every day so that you know what to do, what to do, and when to do, and how to do. So the what's, when's, and how's is something that you need to keep ready with you in hand all the time. And obviously, you need to have good connection within your team and within your office, basically, so that if someone is facing some issue and if you are not able to troubleshoot it in real time, you quickly reach out to someone who can possibly help you there.
If you had the ability to go back in time, what was that one thing, or one or two things that you will like to change or not change?
If I have the ability to go back in time, I would definitely not do a lot of things that I have done. And that is basically on the lines of getting influenced by random people. Because when you're in college, all you think about is getting a good placement. And so whoever you see, any senior that you see, or say in any family gathering, if you meet any guy and you're like, okay, this guy is a developer and he's earning like a lot, maybe even I should be doing this. So that is the kind of mindset that you have. Then you meet someone else, you see, okay, this guy knows Python, okay, maybe I should start learning Python, and okay, that will help me. And you start doing that. So what I did in my college days was, okay, I completed around 20-25 certifications. And I do not remember anything about those certifications now because I never used them. So spending a lot of time, I won't say wasting, but yeah, spending a lot of time on those certifications or courses which were of no use, and I did not even have any interest in them, but just because someone else was interested in it, and just the thought that, okay, if I do this, I might get that, not having that far-sightedness. So that is something that I would like to change. I will not spend like hours doing courses that will not benefit me.
So thank you so much. It was very grateful to talk to you, and I'm sure a lot of people will learn from this, and especially all the students who are listening to you will know a little more about cloud computing and stuff like that. So thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.